Keeper, and welcome back to On Air. I'm so glad you can join me. Today, breaking news, developing news as direct selling's influence on politics continues to grow. If you notice, I flipped the script. It's no longer politics influence on direct selling. Oh no, it is now direct selling's influence on politics as Nu Skin jumps into the fray. After Amway's DeVos family, Melaleuca owner Frank Vandersloot comes out in their support for the Romney Super PAC. Now, Nu Skin owners Romney, Lund, and Tolleson, it's being reported by the New York Times, have funneled millions of dollars into two shell corporations. Also, today we ask distributors, you can no longer stay on the sidelines. You can no longer say we are not involved in politics. I don't care what anyone tells you. You are, and you need to be aware. The only question is, when do you come together as a mega community to raise your voice and have your own impact on politics here in the U.S.? Also, we look at the Women of Power, the Power 30, which will be announced on Direct Selling Live March 8th. We look at number 12, 11, and 10. That would be Doris Wood, Linda Bruno, and Mary Christensen here on Air.
No family can survive on 2 incomes anymore, let alone 1. If you are supplementing your family's income working from home, then tune into The Cash Flow Show, Direct Sales Radio. Host Deb Bixler brings you sales tips, lead generation systems, and best business practices that guarantee direct sales success. Whether you're looking for a little extra cash or a career change, The Cash Flow Show, Direct Sales Radio will give you proven systems that will work in your home business. The Cash Flow Show, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time on World Talk Radio Variety.
Let's just get right into it. Direct selling owners are flexing their political power unlike anything we have seen, and that's the caveat, the word seen before. I imagine this has always happened, but thanks to the Citizens United ruling on January 21st, 2010, more and more companies can now throw in tons of money, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars to any political campaign or any political politician that they want. And now what we're seeing is direct selling companies, direct selling owners flexing their political muscle, not only getting in the game, but being more willing to expose their beliefs and their values on how they think the company should be run. As you know, we broke the story last year on Amway's DeVos family finally admitting that they are the largest, or were at the time, the largest soft money donor to the Republican Party. I doubt that that's the case anymore, but who knows? This is such a web that needs to be untangled before you really find who's doing what and at what level. A couple of weeks ago, Melaleuca owner Frank Vandersloot comes out. He was already a Idaho chairperson, financial chair for the Romney campaign, throws in $1 million. But it wasn't just $1 million. It was it was through 4 different chunks. $250,000 through Melaleuca Inc. USA, and then $750,000 through 3 different chunks of 3 different divisions in Melaleuca Asia. And now it's being reported that the Nu Skin founders created 2 shell companies, Eli Publishing and F8, which I imagine stands for Fate. F8, Fate. Makes sense. If you saw it on a license plate, you'd say, that means fate. Fate in what instance for us or anyone in direct selling, as the Nu Skin owners pour in apparently millions of dollars to these shell companies. Now, I don't care that they poured in millions of dollars. I really don't, because they're playing by the rules that were set up 2 years ago, which I think is an absolute travesty to the American voting public. It's no longer one person, one voice. It's now who has the most money. And it's interesting that the owners, who they're actually putting money towards, it seems to be that the money's going to the Mitt Romney super PACs. Well, That's fine too, because as I said, they're playing by the rules. Whether we like it or not, that's the way it is. It's up to the American voting public and our politicians to change or amend those rules. However, when we look at the Nu Skin situation, it's very, very interesting because this is going to be a developing story. I'm going to be getting more and more into it, deeper and deeper into it next week. Why would you create a shell company, a front company to funnel money? Now, I understand you want autonomy. I understand all that because when you have millions, you don't want people coming to you all of a sudden, hat in hand, asking for money. But this is a little different. This, from a perception standpoint, says not only do you not want people to know who you are, but you don't want anyone to know what your political beliefs are, which is interesting because we're talking about millions of distributors between these companies, Amway, Melaleuca, and Nu Skin. And particularly with the Nu Skin, is it that the fear that you don't want your distributors to know because if they find out, they might not believe in the same ideological standards that you have? It very well could be. I'm just saying, it's a perception. What we have to begin to look at as we're going to continue to look at this story is why the shell companies? Because from an integrity standpoint, I have major questions. I even had the major questions for the Amway DeVos family because they denied for years that they were soft money donors to the Republican Party, and then they finally came out after years of denying. And from an integrity standpoint, it just looks bad. It just looks really bad. Also, distributors, 85% of distributors are women in direct selling, upwards of 85%. There's so much conversation about women's right to choose right now, contraceptives, for hormonal control, for any number of things, not just birth control. That's just a topical thing that the politicians are just throwing out there. There's so much more to contraceptives, and yet I find it fascinating that the people that our direct selling owners are backing are those people that don't want to give women the right to choose. I think everyone should be free to determine their own destiny. If you are pro-life, it's because you chose to be pro-life. If you are against that view, it's because you chose to. It's not because someone told you. I think a woman should be able to choose their path in life just like all these men. I find it most interesting that the people that the Melaleuca people are backing, which is really interesting from a Melaleuca standpoint. Frank Vandersloot, the owner, came out and said the company Melaleuca wants Romney for president, as if he's speaking for all employees and all distributors associated with Melaleuca. You got to be kidding me. Of course that's not the case, but you've got to be very, very careful. In this new day, I guess it's a better way of putting it, of unlimited donations and super PACs, the need to be very, very, it's not secretive, but then you have to be very, very careful. Look, I don't care who you're backing. It's a matter of the American public voting, but what begins to happen with the super PACs is you crush the individual's voice. That's really what this is all about. You are looking to crush the individual, the American one voter, a rule, one individual. You are trying to buy the election. Now, from a direct selling standpoint, what this really does is it really flexes direct selling political power. Whether you agree with the DeVos family or Melaleuca's owner, Frank Vandersloot, or Nu Skin, it really begins to flex power visibly for direct selling. I think it's a good thing. I think at the end of the day, it is an absolutely good thing. I just want to know, when do distributors get involved? When does the distributor voice begin to be heard politically? When I come back, I'm going to talk about this because I had a very interesting conversation late last year with Direct Selling Association new president Joe Mariano, who expressed that he would love for distributors to be more involved on the political side because the DSA has a political action committee that they cannot talk about with distributors. However, we need to get in this conversation when I come back.
when my mother used to sell Princess House.
Joined them way that night.
Norma siempre vendía cosas de Avon.
Oh, it must have been around 1935.
But those knives were amazing.
The one lady's name was Mary Kay, and I said, oh, cosmetics will never sell on Party Plan.
Was a single mom and created these hair care products for black women and became the first self-made millionaire in the United States. I just think that's extraordinary.
Welcome back to On Air. As I reported in the first segment, Nu Skin owners, Romney, I'm not sure how he pronounced it, Steve Lund and Sandy Tolleson, who actually made the direct selling live Women of Power, Power 30 last year, and for what I understand, will be on the list again this year, which that announcement will come out on March 8th on Direct Selling Live. Direct Selling Live's Women of Power, the Power 30. Be sure to check it out, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Nu Skin, along with their co-founders, I guess you'd say, Ronnie or Roni, like I said, I'm not sure, Steve Lund and Sandy Tolleson, have really begun to catapult direct selling into the national spotlight once again as direct selling flexes its political power. Unfortunately, direct selling media, Network Marketing Business Journal, Direct Selling News are not reporting on any of this stuff. The Nu Skin connection with the Romney Super PAC, or more to the point and more clearly, I guess is a better way, with Romney goes back to as far as 2002 when they have supposedly put in $20 million to support the Winter Olympics in Utah when Governor Romney, when Governor Romney, but not Governor of Utah, but when Governor Romney was spearheading the Utah Winter Olympics. So they have really deep political ties. And of course, when you put in all this money, the question always is, what do I get back in return? It is being assumed that Nu Skin is trying to buy their way to prominence. I don't think so. Nu Skin is an extremely powerful, extremely prominent direct selling company. They don't need all those kind of shenanigans. But I understand when you have money, like the type of money that they're talking about, that I'm talking about here, when you have tens of millions, hundreds, even billions of dollars, this is what power gets you. It gets you inside pole position to any politician on the planet. And let's face it, we all want that kind of power. I do, because that means I can do some of the things that I want to do, even if it's at odds with other people. It allows me to put money through causes and things that I think are important. That's the great thing about power and influence. The Power 50 that was announced on Direct Selling Live speaks to this point, the Women of Power. From a direct selling standpoint, distributors, you've got to realize this is a game we can play. There are tens of millions of distributors that are connected to the U.S. political system. At what point do we begin to create a block? And I'm not a distributor. Let me make that very clear. I'm not a distributor with any company. I have no ties to any company whatsoever. I'm just little me doing my thing, trying to engage and elevate the conversation on some very serious issues here in direct selling. Women in the boardroom, race, a number of other things, gays and lesbians, and of course the political aspect. Because to me, that's really the only game in town. It really, really is. Politics dictates any and everything that we can and cannot do. So from a distributor standpoint, I was asked a couple of weeks ago by a very prominent leader, Keeper, would you be interested in starting a political action committee? And my response was, I don't know. I don't know where to begin. I don't know how that kind of thing is put together. But I know one thing, distributors can really create some massive power. Will they all be on the same page? Of course not. But from a distributor standpoint, it gets the politicians to pay more close attention to who we are as an industry. Then that way, not only are we able to help the DSA in their efforts to help get into the political policy debate, as Joe Mariano indicated, president of the DSA, indicated to me he would like to see happen, but from their political action committee standpoint, they really can't engage distributors. So my job, in part, I believe, is to constantly make distributors aware. This is a conversation we need to be in, and the only question is, when do you get involved? 2012 is one thing. 2016, it's going to be no holds barred. I'm telling you, in fact, long before that, was it 2014, midterm elections come in, It's going to be absolutely stupid, the amount of money that's being poured in to control your attention. That's really what's happening. The battle for your attention. What do? You got to get involved. The issues that are impacting women, and I'm a huge advocate for women's rights. I saw some things growing up with my mother and my sisters that were absolutely horrific, and it's one of the things that drives me to make sure that women are protected, women have a say, and women have visibility, have recognition. Whether I agree with you politically, religiously, has nothing to do with it. I think you should be able to choose what it is you want to do, dictate your own path in life. What do? It's all about engagement. It's all about coming together. If you know of anyone who could tell me how to put together a political action, I'd be more than willing to look at it, because I find that our media in direct selling is not going to ask you. In fact, it appears as though our media in direct selling is not unbiased. They're extremely biased. They know exactly who they want to represent and who they want to be put into any political office. It's no surprise that they are always interested in those politicians that are all about, how do I say this, helping them make more money as a company. A lot of the social issues they really don't care about. In fact, one just, easily said, I don't care, if the people who don't have money, that's their fault, which of course is not true. It's, there are just other things involved there. Let me be also clear on another thing. I don't care if we're talking about the Obama administration. If you know of someone that's just pouring in money, we need to make this perfectly clear. And it just can't be $100,000. It can't be. It's got to be the type of money that's going into the super PACs for around like millions of dollars. That's what it's really going to capture my attention, or $500,000. But even still, with the Obama administration, we've got to be very, very clear, be careful, I should say, because even he has just opened up the floodgates for super PACs to begin to support him. And so it's going to be interesting to see which direct selling companies or owners or executives go in that direction. It's time. It's time that you distributors figure out how to get involved in the conversation. It's an exciting conversation. It's an exciting time because we are seeing power in direct selling really begin to take shape and hold of the political system, which should, in large part, help the industry as a whole from a protection standpoint, because this is what power is all about. You can control some things. You can make some things happen for you. Once again, I can only say we're going to keep a very close eye on the Nu Skin story. We're continuing the investigation into the DeVos family and their dealings with the Republican Party and Frank Vandersloot. More and more direct selling companies are involved. I know this for a fact, but their activities is difficult to kind of peel back. This is really, no sacred cows here. I can't afford to play it like that. If I find out something about you, and even if you're a friend, I have to report it. I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I possibly can. When I come back, the Women of Power, the Power 30, we're going to look at number 12, 11, and 10. That would be Doris Wood, my good friend Linda Bruno over at Network Marketing Business Journal, and another good friend. In fact, all these women are just very dear friends of mine, Mary Christensen, super trainer. I will be right back.
When my mother used to sell Princess House.
Join them way that night.
Norma siempre vendía cosas de Avon.
Oh, it must have been around 1935.
But those knives were amazing.
The one lady's name was Mary Kay, and I said, cosmetics will never sell on party plan.
Was a single mom and created these hair care products for black women and became the first self-made millionaire in the United States. I just think that's extraordinary.
Welcome back to On Air. I'm so glad you could join me, as you know, on March 8th, 2012 at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Direct Selling Live will announce its annual Women of Power to Power 30, which is the list of the 30 most powerful, most influential people. 30 most powerful, most influential women in all of direct selling worldwide. In my previous segments, I was talking about Nu Skin and Sandy Tolleson over at Nu Skin, one of the co-founders. She made the list last year, and of course she will be on it again this year. She's an extremely powerful and influential woman in direct selling. But today we're going to do a quick highlight of 3 of the women as we lead up to the announcement on March 1st. Today we start out with number 12, Doris Wood, the founder of the MLMIA. Doris Wood, MLMIA, for those of you who don't know, is the Multi-Level Marketing International Association. Been around for, this is their 26th year. Yeah, because last year they celebrated their 25th anniversary. Doris, however, has been in direct selling. This would make her 53rd year. She's been involved in direct selling as long as I have been on the planet. Doris, I just love Doris. We don't always see eye to eye, but we are, I don't know, it's just something about the two of us together. We just really, really enjoy each other. We have a really great time. But she's an extremely influential woman. Granted, the MLMIA hasn't been as powerful as it has been in years past, but Doris is so well known, so influential in direct selling. She obviously makes the list. Number 11 is Linda Bruno, Vice President of Operations for Network Marketing Business Journal, which used to be Money Makers Monthly for those of you who don't know. Linda Bruno, over there with her husband Keith Lagos, Dr. Keith Lagos, the publisher and owner of Network Marketing Business Journal, they have been in direct selling for a long time. Linda Bruno is just an absolute sweetheart, but don't be fooled, sweetheart or not. She has so much power and influence, especially when it comes to Network Marketing Business Journal, the trade journal for direct selling, network marketing, and home-based businesses here in the United States. Linda knows so much about the industry, and so many people depend on her calming influence, because in a lot of ways, she is the opposite of what Dr. Keith Lagos is all about, and that's really what's needed over at Network Marketing Business Journal. Network Marketing Business Journal seems to be going through a little rough patch here so far, but from a power and influence standpoint, Linda Bruno is one of the most well-known and well-respected women in all of direct selling. Number 10, not so much because that she's a consultant and trainer. Her mission is to really get women more involved. She's just come back from South Africa, where she has spoken to a lot of women. She also just spoke to a number of women from Muslim countries who, when they sat in front of her, were shrouded in their all black. All she could see was their eyes. But the response, the acceptance of who she was, and the message of direct selling was so well received. She was telling, it was just like goosebumps. So she is transcending the industry because she's crossing barriers. Apparently, some of these women cross borders to come and see her and hear what she had to say as it regarded or as it related to direct selling. Number 10, Mary Christensen, on the Women of Power, the Power 30. Don't forget, March 8th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Women of Power, the Power 30 will be announced. You know, that's our show for today. We'll have a new show Monday. We'll have a new show Monday at 4 o'clock as we continue to dig deeper into the Nu Skin and find out why the shell companies hiding how you're bringing your money in and who you're giving your money to. Not good. Not for a direct selling company or direct selling owner who talks about integrity, forthrightness, honesty, being transparent. It appears as though a number of our direct selling owners do not walk the talk. Have a great weekend. Bye.